Today let's discuss one of the most popular functions in Excel, which probably comes right after the function sum, and the function is VLOOKUP. Let's go through the functionality and also the limitations, and let's see how can we overcome some of them. This function, even though it's a bit outdated, is a legendary one, because through this function usually people start to understand the whole power of Excel and how much time can it save us. Let's jump to Excel. Let's start from the beginning. What does this function do? It allows you to extract the data from a specific line in your table for a specific element which it finds in one of the columns. In order to work with the function, we need to prepare a few elements. The first element is the table. It should contain two sections. The first column contains the key area. This is the column in which you will be looking for your target element. It's important. The column in which you look for your element must always be the first in the table. And after that, in this table you can have 2, 3, 4 or more columns with the data which you can extract. On top of that, you need to define the element you will be looking for in the first column. Now let's see how the function works. The first argument of the function is a lookup value. So you simply can type the text, or in our case, we will link it to the cell. The second is the table array. You need to select all the array, including the column in which you target to search for the data and the data which you want to extract as an output of the function. The third component is the column index. This attribute defines which data you will extract. In our case, we are looking for the sales data, and the sales column in selected data is the column number 3. So we need to put here 3. The last parameter is very tricky. You can put here 0 or 1. 0 will mean that you will have an exact search. If you put 1 in this parameter, you will go for the closest match search. I do not recommend to use 1 here because you have no idea, and no one does, how the Excel will define close enough element in the table. In my practice, in 100% of the cases, I use 0 as a parameter. Okay, so we'll put 0 for this example, and let's see what is the result. It's exactly the value from the column sales, which corresponds to the fruit mango in the first column. If we change the input parameter to, let's say, apple, the result will change. If we decide to extract, for instance, the color, not necessarily the sales, we just need to change the third parameter, which defines the column from which we're taking the data, to 2 in this case. And that's pretty much it about the way the function works. But the most interesting part only begins, because now we will talk about the limitations and how to overcome them. The first limitation of the function is that you cannot add the element at the bottom. If you do it, it will not be captured in the initial formula and you will need to rerun it. Let's imagine we add some elements, let's say grapes, and if we now use the grapes as our parameter, definitely the function will find nothing. Now in order to capture it, you need to change the input of the formula. How to deal with this? There are multiple ways. The first approach is, instead of using the whole table here, use all the columns. I personally don't prefer this option because there could be data which is located above or below your table. Essentially, with this approach, you lose the control over the way the formula works. The second solution requires a bit of work, but at the end it will give you better results. So you need to convert your table into the table element. So you select the whole table, including the headers, then you go to the ribbon, go to Insert button, and you push the table. Here, in the pop-up window, please keep the tick mark "My table has headers", because indeed it has. You push OK, and now you convert it data into the table. Okay, you can play a bit with parameters. Now we need to go to the formula and slightly update it. Instead of this table, we will select this area. As you can see, it will be renamed as a table, which is an element. The result will be the same because, of course, we don't have grapes. But now, if we add grapes as the last line, you can see that it is automatically added to your table. And you can add as many elements as you want. Each of them will be added to the table at the bottom. As you can see, now you can easily add elements to a table at the bottom. Second issue of VLOOKUP formula is that it has the third parameter, which is the number of columns. And if you change the number of columns in your data set, definitely the formula will stop working. Let's see how can we deal with this. As you can see, now we extract the data from the third column, and now if we add one column, the formula will stop working or will give us a wrong result. There is no automatic way how to solve this, but there is a usual trick. What people usually do, they put the numbers for the columns on the top. So you start with 1, and for every following cell, you put simply the formula +1, then you can copy this formula and see the numbers of all of the columns in your table. Then in your formula, instead of putting the hard-coded number 3, you link it to this number, and as you can see, the result is correct. Definitely, if you, for instance, now again kill the column, nothing will work, but what you need to do, just to correct the formula, and immediately everything will work. Yes, it's not automatic, but at least you need to check only one line. What is more important, you don't need to change the formula of VLOOKUP. And in real life, when you have a big table, you can have multiple VLOOKUP formulas linked to it. So in this case, you fix only one line with numbers and all the formulas will be fixed automatically. Limitation number 3 is very typical. The element which we didn't highlight before, but which is crucial for VLOOKUP formula correct work, is that in the column in which you look up for your data, you need to have unique elements only. Because the way VLOOKUP works, it goes from top to down, and as soon as it finds the first element, it stops searching forward. And the output will correspond to the first element it found on the list. So in this case, as you can see, we have two elements mango with different values. If you want to use VLOOKUP formula, you will always find the first one. In this type of situation, you need to understand which of the two cases do you have. First one, your data is not correct and you really have multiple rows which are repeating each other, then the VLOOKUP formula doesn't work and you need to rethink your algorithm. The second case is when you have unique rows, but one element in one column is not unique. Let's go for this case. So in our case, we have fruits column in which we don't have unique elements and they repeat few times, but they repeat few times because there is different months for each of them. So the combination of two columns, month and fruit, is indeed unique. You need to create additional column, let's call it a key, and then in this column you need to simply combine these two elements, mango and months first. We push OK, we copy the formula till the end. As you can see, the elements in this column are unique. Now let's rewrite our VLOOKUP formula. Let's kill whatever we have before, and respectively we need to have two parameters for the search. So the second parameter will be the months, and let's choose 2 for instance. Now let's rewrite our formula. We go with VLOOKUP. As the first parameter, we need to input the combination of the fruit and the months. This is what we do. We combine the fruit and the months. The second parameter, we choose total table as before. Now, since we want to extract sales, we need to find the new target column number. It used to be 3, but now in the new column it's number 5. And the last parameter, as we agreed, we will always use 0. You have the mango sales in February equal to 40. If you change the parameter here, it will give you the result of the first month. That's pretty much it. In most of the cases, when you extract the table with the data, none of the columns containing unique elements only. And you need to play a bit with them to find a way which of them you need to combine to receive the unique elements. As a bonus, I will show you how to find whether the elements in your column are unique or not. You need to calculate 2 elements. Okay, number of elements could be calculated very easily. You need to use count A formula and apply it to your target column. There are multiple ways how to calculate unique elements, but I prefer the following one. You go with sum 1 divided by countifs, and you just use twice as the first and the second parameter the same column. Since these numbers are equal, it means that all the elements are unique. And if we add deliberately one duplicate, immediately these numbers are not equal, which means you need to revise the key column. That's it for today, and I hope now you will be able to comfortably use VLOOKUP formula and even to overcome the main disadvantages. Thank you and see you in the next one.